Good evening once again. We're about to serve the main course, but I wanted to, first of all, introduce the director of UNDP's Environment and Energy Group, Dr. Veerle. She's a dynamic, inspiring leader who is managing projects all over the world, and I'd like to invite Veerle to open the evening and begin the proceedings. And in a few moments, the dinner will be served. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome. And first of all, I would say welcome to the winners of the Equator Prize 2008. I cannot see you, but I know you're in the room. I only have light. That's when you're following me here. Don't try to look at the people. It's a black. But this evening is about you, and this evening is for you. So I hope that you really enjoy the evening. We are celebrating tonight the communities which you represent here, and these communities who really make a change in people's life by combining biodiversity conservation and poverty reduction. And it's these innovative approaches which we want to celebrate tonight. And we know that if these innovative approaches would be replicated on a large scale, this really could make a change in the way the world is moving. And so I want to say congratulations, thank you, and welcome very much. I had prepared a speech, but I'm not going to give a speech. I'm just going to tell some stories. The first story is about this building. I had said to Charles and Eileen, I said we should not have the Equator Prize in a 5-star hotel. UNDP stands for poverty reduction, and we don't want to celebrate poverty reduction in a 5-star hotel. But just wait and come back tomorrow. When I came in here, when it was still light, I said, Charles, what did you do? This is worse. This is not 5-star. This is 5-star under 0. But I must say, and thank you very much for the Equator team. I think by now, with the lights, with the banners, it is very acceptable, and I hope you enjoy the evening. It's also not a 5-star menu. It is a menu to celebrate, that we have some innovative initiatives, that we have some great people with us who deserve being celebrated tonight. And so I hope you will bear with us for a rather simple setting, but I think the company will make up of it. Now, first of all, I would like to tell something about the Equator Initiative. I know the prize winners, you know a lot about the Equator Initiative. You competed hard to get this prize. But there are also some people in the room who don't know about the Equator Initiative. And I just would very briefly like to give you the basics of it. The Equator Initiative was born in 2001, and later I will explain a bit why our keynote speaker, Ted Turner, is so important, and he was in fact the one who gave it the start shot. But the Equator Initiative is everything about linking local communities and good practices in local communities with global policy setting. What we are trying to do is identify innovative, replicable practices on how to link poverty reduction with biodiversity conservation. And then having identified these practices, we celebrate them in events like this one. But very importantly, we also make the link with the global and the national policy setting. And I want to give you an example. I'm not yet that long with UNDP, just 1 year and 2 days. And when I joined the Equator Initiative at the CBD, the Convention on Biological Diversity, and unluckily Ahmed, who is one of the partners in the Equator Initiative, CBD, cannot be here tonight. But I was really amazed how this group of 25 people from the previous prize were really able to influence, by very practical examples from work on the ground, influence the decisions of the CBD. And in many of the decisions of the Convention on Biological Diversity, you will now see reference to the importance of local communities, to the importance of indigenous knowledge. And I think this is really a big achievement. But I also know that some of the people in the room, people who won previous prizes, they have now a real impact on their national policy setting. And I hope you have the opportunity to talk with some of our previous prize winners and really understand from them how by getting this recognition from the Equator Initiative, they have been able to really also serve at the national government and give examples of good conservation of biodiversity and poverty reduction. And I think this is really a very great achievement. So thank you very much for all these people who are doing all this work. On the other hand, tonight we celebrate 25 people, or 25 communities, represented by 25 people here. And 5 of these groups will get a special recognition. 3 from African region, 1 from African region, 1 from the Asian region, and 1 from the Latin American region. And then there will be a special recognition for eco-agricultural and a special recognition, 1, for adaptation to climate change. And being in UNDP also responsible for the climate change agenda, I'm very, very glad that we identify adaptation to climate change and the role of communities as a crucial role which we should celebrate and identify in the Equator Initiative. I think during the opening sessions, I was pleased that so many of the speakers on the panel really identified climate change, not only as a challenge, but also as an opportunity. An opportunity, if we really take this magnitude of the challenge faces us, and we do it in a rational way, we can not only reduce greenhouse gases, but also, if we do it clever, we could make impact on poverty reduction and sustainable development. But that means that we have to learn from these local communities, learn how these local communities over the centuries have learned to adapt to climate change and climate variabilities. And so tonight there will be a first special prize in the Equator Initiative on the climate change issue. And then the last point I wanted to mention before giving the floor to the keynote speaker, I know that most of you know Ted Turner. I think this is not a major issue. But I know that the people from the Equator Initiative, the prize winners, do not know Ted Turner, most probably. Many of you will have no televisions, home where you're coming from. And I just want to tell something, 2 issues about the keynote speaker. The first one is that a long time ago, he had this idea that we should use television to build a global village, to really connect people and provide people with the news of the world. At that time, I think many people thought this was impossible, but indeed it happened. And I think not only was he a great businessman, he is also a great person with really a heart for what is happening in this world. And so in 1997, he donated $1 billion. $1 billion, we are in the Equator Initiative, we are not yet there. But he donated $1 billion to the United Nations. And I think everybody of us who works for the United Nations is very grateful to Ted for doing this work. And really, in a time when the United Nations was on quite a bit of criticism, give us a signal that he believed that this United Nations, this working for peace and prosperity for all, was really something that was worth supporting. And we are grateful for you. And I think that all the people who are here, should know that the Equator Initiative would never have seen the light of the day if you would not have given, with the United Nations Foundation, the first million who kicked it off. And we are very grateful because you can see in this room what is the result of your work. So thank you very much. The floor is all yours.